Hello, my dear students, and the rest of the learners. Welcome to part 8 of a 22-part series of tutorials in Managed Database System using Microsoft Access. In this tutorial, we shall be looking at what we call creation of tables in design view and more so in a relational and database. My name is Mehmet M, or you can simply call me Emily Swap. What is a table? A table is a collection of data about a specific topic, such as student information. Therefore, the first step in creating a table is entering the fields and data types. It is also important for you, my dear students, and the rest of the learners to note that before you start creating a table or before you start creating tables in a database, you need first of all to ensure that you have already made a decision on how your data is not only going to be stored in your database, but also how it is going to be organized. And therefore, you don't just start creating tables from nowhere. You first of all to have all the information that you want to store in your database, and then you organize that data in what we call related information, or simply put, what we call the tables. It is from that point when you proceed and then now start creating the tables in your computer using the chosen software such as Microsoft Access. And therefore, the foundation for a database is simply organized data in form of tables. And therefore, before you start creating a table, you are first of all to ask yourself, what type of data, what information are you going to hold in each of your tables? And then once you made that decision, you proceed and you create each table at a time. Just as I said in the previous presentations or tutorials in this series, we said that before you commence creating a table, you have to do what we call database design. You have to think of how your data is not only going to be organized, but also you are supposed to think about how the data from each and every table is going to be related. Therefore, as we said in part 7 of this series, we said that before you start creating your table or your database using a software, you need to develop what we call an ERD, that is an entity relationship diagram, which indicates not only the tables that you are going to be having in your database, but also the fields, the specific fields that will be found in each table, including what we call the thinking about the primary keys and the relationship between one table and the other. We also proceeded and we created a database. And therefore, in this tutorial, we are just repeating a portion of what we did in part 7 of this series when we created a complete database. So, when we speak about creating a table, we are talking about organizing your information in form of what we call the fields. And each field is expected to hold data of a certain type. And therefore, when you are creating a table, you have to choose or select the fields that will be in your table and the data type for each field. This can be done in either datasheet view or design view, but it is recommended to set up the table in design view. And therefore, in this tutorial, we shall be creating our tables in design view. Each table contains data fields and their data types. When we speak about a field is an element of a table that contains a specific item of information, such as last name, first name, date of birth, amongst others. The field's data type determines what kind of data the field can store. Therefore, if a field is going to be holding data of type text, For example, a name of a person, then you have to think of the data type that you shall use. And in this case, it will of course be of type text. Each field in a table is composed of data of a certain type. Therefore, the main data types in Access that you can use when creating a table and their uses include, number one, short text. Short text is selected in a situation where you want your field to hold what we call the alphanumeric data, that is, names, titles, amongst others, up to a maximum of 255 characters. You also have what we call the long text. Long text is used for holding large amounts of alphanumeric data, such as sentences and paragraphs, all the way to 64,000 characters. This is like a passage. Now, the difference between short text data type and long text data type is that short text data type is used for holding text that is of fewer characters, from 2 characters all the way to 255. The long text is used to hold passages. The other type of data type that we can use is what we call number. The number data type is used for holding numeric data, that is simply numbers composed of 0 to 9 in any form of combination. The next data type is a date or time. This is a data type which is used to hold data of type date or time. And therefore, if you are creating a database and you want to manipulate data that relates to dates and or time, the data type you're supposed to select is date stroke time. In a situation where you want to hold currency of various types, for example, Kenyan shilling, pound, dollars, etc., you are supposed to select data of type currency. We also have what we call the auto number. The auto number data type is mostly used in situations where you have a unique field that is supposed to hold a unique value that is generated by Access for each new record, such that as you continue adding new records, Access automatically continues to add the numbers in progression. For example, from 0 upwards. So the first record will be 0. The second one will be added 1. The third one will be added 2, etc. automatically. The next data type is the yes stroke no data type. Now, the yes stroke no data type is used to hold what we call the yes and no values and fields that contain only one of 2 values. It is almost similar to what we call the Boolean data type, which includes, for example, data of type yes, no, male, female, etc. The other data type is the only object. What is only object used to do? In fact, OLE stands for Object Linking and Embedding. It is used to display pictures, graphs, or other ActiveX objects from another Windows-based application. So mostly, this is used in situations where you want to import pictures, graphs, and other types of objects into a database. The other type of field or data type is hyperlink. An hyperlink is usually a link address to a document or a file on the internet. And therefore, if you want, for example, to be accessing a certain website or a certain document or a file that is not stored in your computer, but is stored, for example, in an online platform like the internet, then you can create a link, which is usually contains or composed of set of characters forming what we call the Uniform Resource Locator, or URL. This URL can refer to an object or a file from the internet or even from the computer if it is stored somewhere within your set of folders. We also have the attachment data type. Attachment data type is used in a situation where you want to attach files, such as pictures, documents, spreadsheets, or charts. In this situation, each attachment field can contain an unlimited number of attachments per record, up to the storage limit of the size of a database file. So in certain situations, you may also want to create a field that is referred to as calculated. In this case, you select the data type called calculated. You can create an expression that uses data from one or more fields. You can designate different result data types from the expression. A good example of a situation where you can select the data type calculated is where, for example, you want to calculate balances. A case in point is where, for example, a student is required to pay a certain amount of fees for a certain program. When this student makes a payment, he or she will either be left with a zero balance or he or she will be left with some balances unpaid. So in this case, balance can be a calculated field, such that as the student continues to make payment, the payments that he or she has made are accumulated. The sum or total is computed, and the amount remaining is displayed. And therefore, in that situation, we use what we call a calculated data type. The last data type is called the lookup wizard. It is used to display either a list of values that is retrieved from a table or a query, or a set of values that you specified when you created the field. The lookup wizard starts, and you can create a lookup field. The data type of a lookup field is either text or a number, depending on the choices that you make in the wizard. Therefore, whenever you create a table in Design View, you should proceed and define the fields and their data types as follows. Number one, you open Access and your database, for example, a ManySwap school database, or you create new. And when you create a new file, or what we call a database, it is automatically added an extension, which is .accdb. For you to be able to get more information that is related to how you create a new database, you can refer to part 7 of this series that is already posted in ManySwap ICT YouTube channel for you to be able to learn how to create a new database, in as much as we are going to repeat the same in this presentation. Number 2, you click on the Create tab and you select Table Design. That is, you switch over to Design View on the Home tab. If you are prompted to save the table, you enter the name and you click OK. Number 3, you type the field names and select the appropriate data type for each field. You continue until you have set all the fields or until you have added all the fields in your table. Lastly, you save the table, for example, students. The following are therefore the tables, the fields and data types for our database that we are going to create in Design View. So our first table that we are going to create is called Students Table. Our Students Table will contain the following fields, that is the field names and the data type. Number 1 is Student ID. For Student ID, we are going to choose what we call short text data type. For the first name, it will be short text. Last name is short text. Date of birth is date/time. Gender is short text. Phone is short text. The email field will be short text. Address will be long text. And lastly, we shall have the program ID, which will also be short text. Then next, we are going to create the departments table. The department table will be composed of two fields. The first field will be department ID field. It will be of data type short text. The second will be department name, and data type will be short text. The third table that we're going to create is programs table. The programs table will be composed of the following fields and the data types. We shall have the program ID of type short text, program name, short text, program fees, currency, duration will be short text, department ID will be short text. Our fourth table will be courses table. It will have the following fields. One is course ID, of which is expected to hold data of type short text. The course name will hold data of type short text. Credit hours will be number. Program ID will be short text. Our fifth table will be enrollments. It will contain the following 5 fields. Enrollment ID of data type short text, the student ID short text, the course ID short text, academic year will be a number, and the term will be a number. Lastly, we shall have the payments table. The payments table will be composed of the following fields. Payment ID, short text, student ID, short text, payment date, date or time, amount paid, currency, payment mode will be short text. So with that now in mind, we can then proceed and create each of these tables one at a time in our database. And therefore, what we are going to do is we are going to click, or we are going to launch Microsoft Access, and then from there, we shall be able to create our tables. So what we need to do is you click on Start button, and then under Search, you can type Access. Here is our Access. Once it is displayed, you click on it. And then I'm going to click on Blank Desktop Database. Then you give your database a name. I will call it Emily Swap School. Emily Swap School. Then you click on Create. If another one already exists, you'll be told whether you want to replace it or not. Let me click Yes, because I want to create a clean database or a new database for the sake of guiding you, my dear students, and the rest of the learners on the complete process of creating not only a database, but also all the objects for our database. So we have created a database, or in other words, we have given our database a name. So the next thing we need to do is to design each of the tables that we have discussed. So our first table is students table. So what we are going to do is we are going to continue with this list of fields here. But what we are going to do, we are going to click on the side view that way. Let's give our table a name. So we are going to call our table students. That is students table. You click on OK. From there, we are going to create our fields. So we shall start with the first one. As you can see, it has been proposed for us, but we can change that, and then we call it student ID. The data type is short text. So for you to select the data type for each of the fields, once you have typed the field name here, on this other side, you click on, or you click and you select the data type. So you click on this button here, and you choose the data type for your field. So the data type for our field called student ID will be short text. Next, our next field is the first name. So you type first name. Our data type will be short text. The third one is last name. So you type last name. Our data type is short text. Next, in the list, once you have typed student ID, first name, last name, our next field is date of birth. For the date of birth, we are going to choose our data type, which is date stroke time. Our next field is gender. So you type gender. Then here, gender can either be a male or a female. So we are going to choose short text. We are going to see why in our subsequent presentations. Our next field will be phone. And for the phone, we also choose short text. I know at this point, some of you may be wondering, how comes we are choosing even phone to be short text? We are doing this simply because if you are going to have your phone number in a certain format, it's always good to choose the data type short text, but then you set its properties and the validations or input masks later. So anytime you want to have data in a certain field formatted in a certain manner, having a combination of characters is always good to choose short text instead of the number, and then you can make the adjustments later as you are going to see. That's why I've chosen a short text. Then for the next field after the phone is email. For email, we are also going to choose the short text. We have address. Remember, if you have any questions as to why I'm choosing this kind of data type, these questions will be answered in my next presentations. And therefore, follow, keep on following, and you are going to learn and to know why we are choosing this kind of data type. Our next field is program ID, and the program ID will be short text. So we have how many fields for this table? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And those will be our data types. Then always remember to click on Save button. This button here to save your fields. We can then close this table. So click on close, or to close it, we create the next table. So how do you create the next table? Our next table will be departments. So we are going to click on the create button, and then we choose table in design view. So you look on this list here for you to see the one that you are going to use. We have the table design and the other. So you choose on table design. From there, you type your fields. Our first field in the departments will be department ID, department ID. The data type for department ID will be short text. Our next field will be department name. Department name. You just type, then you choose the data type. It is short text. Then you click on Save button and give your data table a name. So the name of our table will be department, or call it departments. Then you click on OK. If you're asked about primary key, just say no. We are going to set this later. You can click on Save button. Then we close this table. Already, you can see our list is being added here. Let's proceed. We create our next table. You click on Create, then Table in Design View. Our third table is Programs. It will have the following fields. The first one is program ID. The program ID will be of data type short text. Our next field is program name. And my dear students and the rest of the learners, as you can see, those fields that have data which is related are being added in the same table. How do you know which fields will be where? We do this after having discussed what we call database normalization, which we covered in the previous presentations in this series. And therefore, before you arrive to these tables, you have first of all to do what we call database normalization so that you don't repeat your fields everywhere. And you can have tables that are brief or having brief information which is clear and precise and complete. So if you don't know what is database normalization, I kindly request that you visit Emily Swap ICT YouTube channel from where you are getting this presentation and check what is database normalization. So you can go through part 1 of this series up to this part 8 that we are learning now. For program fees, the data type is currency. The next field is duration. So you type duration, and for duration, it will also be short text. I know in your mind, you may be asking, why is it not date? I thought duration is date or time. We are going to see why we are choosing short text. And just as a point or a hint, it is because we are going to format our duration. It will not be just be a number. It will be a number and some text. So that's why we are choosing short text, a number or some characters, a mix of some numbers and letters of the alphabet. So after duration, we can also have what we call the department ID. Department ID. Department ID will be short text. So those are our 5 fields. Then you click on save and you'll be given this dialog box, which is save as, and it's requesting us for a table name. So you just type directly the name of your table there. So the name of my table is programs. You click on OK. If you ask about primary key for now, say no. We are going to set our primary keys later after we have learned what primary key is. You can then close this table. We create the next table. So you click on create, then table design. Our next table will be courses table. Our courses table have the following fields. The first one is course ID. Course ID is short text. Next is course name. Course name. The course name will be short text. Our next field is credit hours. Remember, you are the one who decides how your fields will be organized based on the type of information that want to be on each table. So for credit hours, this will be data type number. Next is program ID. As I give my fields various names, my dear students and the rest of the learners, it is good to be suspicious. Keep on asking, why do I have this kind of a field here? Why do I need to have program ID in a table which is not for programs but for courses? So we are going to see why. So our course name, our program ID will be short text. Then you click on save and you type the name for this table. And the name for this table is courses. Is courses. You click OK. You click no for the type being. Then you can right click on this button here or on this tab and you click close. We create now the next table in design view, and our next table will now be enrollments. So enrollments has the following fields. The first one is enrollment ID. Enrollment ID. Enrollment ID is of data type short text. Our next field is student ID. A student ID is also of type short text. Our next field is course ID. Course ID, and the course ID is short text. Then we have academic year. Academic year, and academic year is of type number. Next is the term. The term here is also a number. The term is a number. Once you have done that, those are our fields, you save it. So you click on save. You'll be asked for the name for your table. So this table is called enrollments. You click on OK. You are asked whether you need to set a primary key. For now, click on no. We shall set it later. Then you close this table. Then you proceed and create the next table. Our next table is called payments. It has the following fields. The first one is payment ID, and the payment ID is of type short text. Next is student ID. The student ID is of type short text. We have payment date. Payment date. Now the payment date here, the data type is date or time. The next is amount paid. So the amount paid is with one data of type currency. Then we have payment mode. The payment mode will be of type short text. And those are our 5 fields. Remember, it is you who has to decide the number of fields to be in each of your tables. Once you have included all your fields, the field names and the data types, you click on save. Then you give your table a name, and the name of my table is payments. Payments table. Then you click OK. Then if you asked for a primary key, for now, you can click no. And then we are going to set those fields that will be our primary keys in our subsequent presentations. Then you can click on save. You can close on that table design. So my dear students and the rest of the learners, once you have created your tables, you can see they will be added here. This section, the heading here, reads tables. And you can see we have how many fields, or we have how many tables? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 tables for our database. We are going to be using these 6 tables for data entry. Let's see how each table looks like. So you can always open on a table. You can see it is empty. So you can always adjust. You can adjust the names for the fields so that they're clear by pointing on that corner. Press down your mouse button and drag. It is an edge. Point on this other edge here. Once it changes to a plus, press your mouse button down and drag. That is to adjust the field winds. And then you save it. You close it. You can also double click on a table Then you resize your fields just as I've said to ensure that the names are complete. That way, then you click on save the changes. Let's also open this other one. You can double click on it. Then you can see like academic here is not fully displayed. So you can always adjust by pointing on the edge and then dragging your grid that way so that all the names for each of the fields are clear. Enrollment ID, student ID, academic year, that way. Let's see, if you try to close without saving, what will you be taught? You can see you're being told that do you want to save changes to the layout of table enrollments? Click yes. So this is called adjusting the layout for your tables before you commence data entry. So you can double click this other one and see some of the fields are not completely displayed. So you can point on the edge this way. Once it changes to a plus, that is in grid, press your mouse button down and drag outwards that way till the name is displayed. Point on each of them and drag so that each of the names is fully displayed that way. So this is adjusting the layout. And then you click on save. You right click on the name of the table. You click on close. Let's open programs. And then you also adjust in the same manner each of the fields that way till the names are well displayed. Then you click on save and you close that table. You can also right click on students table and adjust it that way. And as you can see on the end, there is a column which reads click to add, meaning that you can also add new fields even in design view, that is in datasheet view. So adjust each of the fields to the size that you want, depending on the type of data or the length of the data that you'll be entering for each of your fields that way. So those are the amendments that we needed to make or the adjustments. Then you click on save and you can close. Therefore, my dear students and the rest of the learners, that is how we create our tables in design view. And you can see the tables tell a story. These tables, when you look at them, they can tell you the type of database we have created. First, database is composed of courses table, departments, enrollments, payments, programs, students. So by just looking at the names that we have, you can easily tell that this is a database for a learning institution or a school. It can be a college, it can be a teacher training college, it can be a university for learning, it can be a primary school, it can be a secondary school, but it is an institution of learning because that is where you expect to have data of type of courses, departments, the enrollments, the payments, the program set, the students. And once you are done with creating your tables, you can close your database. So I can click on a file, then close. And you can also exit by clicking again on the file and then look for exit. If exit is not there, you can point on this button here on your right hand side up here, and then you click on close. And with that, my dear students and the rest of the learners, we have come to the end of part 8. You can now proceed to part 9 of the 22-part series in which we are going to learn about what we call setting primary keys, something that you have seen cropping up anytime we were saving our tables. A message was being displayed in this presentation asking us on whether we want to save our Do we want to create a primary key or not? So continue part 9 of the series in which you are going to learn about how to create the primary keys, what are primary keys, and why are they important, and how we set them. And for that reason, congratulations, my dear students and the rest of the learners, for learning part 8 of 22 on creating tables in Design View using Microsoft Access. You can access the rest of the parts in the series, as well as other computer or ICT videos by clicking or tapping on Emily Swap ICT YouTube channel below this video. To subscribe to the channel, tap on subscribe button below this video in YouTube if it's not currently reading as subscribed. For any further correspondence, kindly write it to us through the email emilyswap@gmail.com. You can also join the channel as a special subscriber if you want to have what we call tutorials, or you want to learn one-on-one with the presenter or the content creator or the trainer, who is myself, by clicking on join button and then following the prompts that will be displayed to join at a higher level of subscription. Thank you very much for listening to me. Let's meet in part 9 of the series, and God bless.